Okay, so then it's recording
Thank
right
you.
now. So no worries. Okay, just like a quick recap, we're gonna go into a quick recap. We touched a little bit, which is we didn't go that much. We were kind of more discussing about what do we do when we are actually before putting together a presentation. So before we're putting together a presentation, sometimes we have the advantages to prepare the information in advance, and sometimes we don't. But when we have the advantage to prepare the information in advance, we should set up like some steps. And this is something that we discussed last week, but we kind of did it more like in an informal way. So today I want to share with you some of the marketing research process, which is really basic, that we can take and borrow this knowledge. So then we went into identifying the problem or the issue that you want to talk about. We talk about develop a research plan. And this one we took a little bit longer, explaining why it's important to develop a plan. And then we said it's different when you think, when you say it, and when you write it. So when you write things, you're kind of like in a way moving and putting the commitment into the next level, which means you can actually share this information and it's already there. So it's visible for people to see it and for you, it's a reminder, but also it's a way that you can actually make changes and create amendments and then say, this is not happening, this is not working, so I can evolve it, I can change it, I can improve it. So, and then we said the importance of also a research plan is so we don't get all over the place and start opening tabs and create all these different issues, because there are things that there are concepts that they are tied and connected, but they start leading us into tangents. And we don't want that. We want to be more focused. So by the time we create a research plan, which is something that we can be really brief by setting up like a basic steps. I'm going to go into the library. I'm going to set up a database with 3 research papers, and I'm going to ask them to find relevant data about the market when they are hiring. So then those were kind of like some of the steps that, you know, it will help us narrow things. Then we're going to conduct the research, which means we go into the library or we do what we have to do. Then we're going to analyze the results, and then we're going to report, which means we're going to write it down. We're going to do our paper, and then we're going to take action, which I mentioned. Take action can be as if you're in a department creating a product, you may even move forward into the developing of the budget because they need to approve if the product that you're actually proposing makes sense or not. Or for example, you actually moving together in proposing something to create a product extension and so on. Or on the other hand, if you're actually doing something that is more close to your heart, that is a personal matter, like for example, something about climate, you want people to take action about something. So you're creating a campaign, you're asking people to subscribe, you're asking people to follow you, you're asking. So then those are kind of like the basic steps that we touch base. Then later we move forward and discuss a little bit about primary and secondary, because when I said we can do a research here on our second, we said develop a research plan is different if you're doing a primary or a secondary. So then when we were here talking about primary and secondary, we were talking about how primary and secondary, they have their own advantages. So primary, as Carrie was saying, yes, it's actually when you put together all the information on your own, you create a word map and kind of create like a surveys, focus group. You're going to know at the first hand and you're going to collect the data. But on the other hand, with secondary, something that you're not investing time by putting things together from scratch, but you're using things that are already available on journals, on papers by the government. So then the advantage of the primary is that you control the variables, you control even how you collect the data, you control the sample size, so that you know how accurate can you be. The downside is that it costs money and it takes time. Putting together the people, you may have a human error if people are not collecting and tabulating properly the data. But on the other hand, secondary sources has advantages, like as is already available. You don't have to invest a lot of money. And it's something that it could be reliable if it's a big company, corporation, if it's the government, if it's actually an NGO that they try to be really thorough when they are collecting the data. Like, for example, the World Health Organization, when they talk about vaccines. On the other hand, the secondary resources, when we're talking about this type of research, has disadvantages, such as, for example, you don't control variables. You don't control here what type of data are you collecting, but you are even in a way adapting. Sometimes you actually need to adapt because it's something that is available. So then in this case, for this class, we're going to be using secondary. We're not going to be conducting surveys. We're not going outside, talking to people, putting together surveys. This is something that you may learn in another type of class where you actually put together all these efforts. But in this class, we're just going to focus on secondary because it's something that is already available, and we're going to learn how to find that information. So good sources for this. FIDM has really good sources. They are connected to databases. They are connected to a database that they pay money. This is actually, guys, something that is so valuable. When you go online and you try to find reports and forecasts, that costs money. But FIDM pays for this. So FIDM has a subscription. So this is a good opportunity for you to take up the advantage of getting this information. If you're doing even like putting together your own business, doing your own analysis for forecasts, take advantage of this because, as I mentioned, FIDM is paying for this. So then you can actually take something that is real. This is real data. This is real information that is providing you the information in advance. Okay, does it make sense? Yes, any questions from here? Yes, Carrie.
Yeah, so we're not allowed to do primary research for our topics, is what you said?
We're gonna here in this class, not in general, but in this class.
No, I know, because last week we talked about like how maybe like for my final presentation I can like get like
your speaker,
my friend, yeah.
Yes.
Like,
so that's a different case. So that's a different case because then that way you're kind of applying it, and then that's actually a good example. And thank you, Carrie.
Because I'm like, that's primary.
You're gonna say how you're taking this away from me after I created on my plan. No,
I even told my friend, I'm like,
great. So let me do a footnote here, okay?
Okay.
Because with Carrie, we discussed something last week about her weekly presentation. So with her weekly presentation, she wants to do something that is related, that she loves, but she wants to bring an expert, and she actually wants to talk with her friend, interview her, and share her ideas. That will fall into the category of primary. So then we will do it here with her because she already talked to the person is available. So it's something that is easier for us to do. So don't get me wrong, and this is what I don't want to get you guys confused. It's not that primary is bad. It's just that primary can be harder. So then since it's harder, I'm not going to ask you, all of you guys, to find people, survey people, interrogate, questionate, tabulate the data, because it will be really hard. But if you have someone that you want to bring, go for it, get it,
I'll probably do that for my, like the final presentation.
Yes,
and my
it kind of make more sense because then you have a sense. So then that's kind of like what I want you guys to be aware for the whole class. This is what I wanted to touch base on, these type of differences between primary and secondary sources, and that actually tied us into the weekly discussion. So then again, for the weekly discussion, you're going to be using secondary sources, unless, this is an important, unless you have the option and then you have something to bring primary sources and for you it's easy and you want to do it. So you're doing it is because for you it's okay. You want to take the effort, you want to take the time, because this is more time consuming. I'm aware of this. This will take you more time, talking to someone, bringing the person, interviewing the person, editing the video if you're even editing. So I'm aware that takes more time. Okay, does it make sense with that? Okay, great, guys. So then remember, think about your topic for the weekly discussions, because we're starting next week. Next week, you're going to have your weekly discussion. You're going to have 5 minutes to present. You can choose any topic. If you're still debating, you can send me an email and we can work together to find out about the topic. The beauty of this is that we can build the knowledge. So if you feel that this is a topic that is really close to your heart, that you want to even learn more, you can even keep this topic for the final. So then you can create stages. And this is something that I even discussed with Carrie. So with Carrie, we're going to have a first approach. We're going to have kind of like an assessment, dip our toes a little bit. And then for the final, we will have something that is more thorough. So this is also something that you can do if this is something that actually you have an idea for a project, if you actually want to create contrast about something, if you want to share with us about something about your country, something about your classes, something about your career, something about, you can actually touch base the first moment with us in the weekly discussion by giving us like an overview, like an opening. That will be just 5 minutes. You can do it using secondary sources. And if you want to go further and then kind of like take the next leap, you can maybe even do it deeper for the final and then bring even someone. Go, Arisa.
I thought we were starting the weekly discussion starting today. So I thought I was supposed to be due starting like next, because I think I'm on week 2, which I thought was.
Yes, you're on week 2. Yes, you are. Oh, you're on week 2.
Or week 3. I remember it was like, I was going to prepare.
Yeah, I'm going to tell you right now because I have here the list with me. But I think I kind of wanted, yes, No one is today. No, we don't have anyone today.
Okay, then am I next week or?
Yes, you're next week.
Okay, good. I
Yes,
just wanted to
yes.
confirm that.
I have here the list with me, and on week 2, even though we have it, no one's signing for week 2.
Oh, that's why.
Yeah.
I was confused as to why.
Yes.
we didn't
So
speak
that's
today.
why, and
Okay.
it kind of makes sense because sometimes we don't want to be first. You know, we want to see.
Yeah,
how it-
well, I did that, but I guess nobody signed up for today.
Yes,
So I am
yes.
going first.
Perfect. So then, Nerissa, you're going next week. If you have
Okay.
any particular questions, you can send me an email.
Okay,
Okay.
thank
If
you.
you also need me to review something in advance, we can do that. Okay.
Okay, thank you for the
So then we're
confirmation.
starting next week with our weekly discussions, and then remember we're doing our peer review. So then you can actually go online, and then let me share with all of you guys how the peer review it will look like. Okay. Okay, I'm gonna stop sharing. Okay, perfect. And I'm gonna go right now and show you how you can access the peer review part. Okay, so I'm gonna share with all of you, and then you guys let me know if you're seeing my screen. Perfect. Perfect, so we're here. Can you guys see it? Yes? Okay, great. So, oh, let me see. I'm kind of trying to navigate, but I'm not here. Can you guys see it? Stop sharing. There we go. Perfect. Okay, guys. So I'm here on module 3, and I have here the peer review area. Okay. So then we have here on module 2, we have the opening for our peer review. So then remember, whenever you are presenting, some of your peers is going to review your presentation. So then the goal of doing this is to provide feedback. So then a peer review is that when we are analyzing someone else's work, and we're taking the knowledge of people who are in the same level of us. So it's people who have the same experience, they're in the same field, so then they can provide us really critical and really right on point feedback. And the reason of doing this is because actually when you are presenting, you're actually learning from someone else, how they present, but also this is a way of reflecting. So then in order to do that, I have here, I provided a template that you can actually download. And the template is going to provide all the guidance of how you can review the person. So then you're going to select one classmate, which we did already last week. If you haven't done it, please talk to me so then you can see the list. You're going to follow the rubric, which is here down, and then you're going to coordinate and plan to attend your peers' presentation. So then here we are evaluating the format, the research and analysis, we're evaluating the critical thinking aspects, and then we're going to recommend. You're going to evaluate the format, the level of text. Is the person using a lot of text? Is the person using, let me go back. Have it here. Is the person using good quantity of visual aids, videos? Is the person being interactive? Can you see the passion? Did the person practice? Can you tell that the person practiced in advance? All these type of elements we're going to be here evaluating. So then you can read in detail each by each one, and then start bringing and providing your comments. By the end, we're actually going to end it up with a recommendation. You're going to consider additional elements such as the person diction. The diction is how we pronounce. We were able to project our voice. Again, if the person, you can tell that the person is prepared, if the person is passionate about, because remember, this is a topic that you're choosing. So this is your moment to shine. This is the moment to show us about something that you know and you are really passionate about. So we want to feel that passion and that energy and that knowledge. We want to feel it and sense it in your presentation. So then once you're doing the overview, the peer review, remember, this is confidential. I'm not going to be sharing this with anyone, but I want you guys to be really objective. I want you guys to sit down to read and analyze whatever your peer is talking about. And you're going to be really critical. You're going to be objective. And I want you to provide feedback that is relevant and is constructive. So this is important because I want you guys to learn about providing feedback. Feedback is a really critical skill whenever we are listening to a presentation, when someone is talking about a project, and then sometimes things they need to be changed. we need to make improvements, and we need to communicate that. But how we do it? How do we do it in a way that the person doesn't feel that it's personal, that I am not attacking the person? I'm just trying to improve the topic. I'm trying to improve the project. And those are the skills that I want you guys to develop here. So then I want to read how is the review that you're addressing? And I want you later, of course, I will address some tips and some ideas of how to do this. Also, the other point, guys, that I want you to be aware is that, remember, not because it's your friend, everything is beautiful. And I have been there. I have read this type of reviews. Everything was nice. Everything was beautiful. I love her presentation. She's so great. You're not telling me here anything. You're telling me it's beautiful and it's great. Why? If you translate that into something that is more objective, I think it will make more sense, so I can be more accurate and specific. Why her presentation was great? Her presentation was great because she was engaging. She prepared in advance because she used videos, and she was really communicating and participating when she was having a discussion. That is more accurate. If something is beautiful, it's because what? The person was using a palette of colors that it was aligned with the corporate, with the brand, with the logo, with the market. The person is representing with the colors, the mood, the feeling of something that is being destroyed, and then we need to take an action. Those are the elements that I want you guys to reflect. So then again, remember, it's not that this is beautiful, this is great, I love it, but why? Okay, does it make sense? Yes? Okay, perfect. So then remember that peer review is already available. You can actually download it. You can see even videos. I actually share with all of you guys here some videos and some ideas of how to actually, again, provide proper feedback. Okay, so you can review this one. You can go here and watch some videos of how to be more right on point, more objective, what type of adjectives and words do you use, and how you can replace things. So then again, people don't take things personal. And even strategies of how to provide the feedback. If you're saying something positive, then you bring the negative element that needs the improvement. And then if you fill it up, ended up with something positive. With this, you need to be mindful because you don't want to deceive the person. You don't want the improvement to get diluted. So then you just try to analyze what worked best for you. That's what I want you guys to be aware. Okay. Now that we are aware with this, I want to introduce for our next week, and I wanna share with all of you guys something that I want to start, all of you guys to start working, which is our roundtable speakers. So the next week we're gonna have a space where we're gonna be presenting someone that you like and you admire. So then we will be having an interactive roundtable, which means we're gonna be sitting down, we're gonna be seeing each other. We're going to have time to present. So I'm asking you to be prepared. Bring the material that you need. Read the material so then you know. And also create something so you can show us. So the way that we're going to do it, we're going to research a speaker, a presenter, or an orator. Someone that you like, someone that you admire, someone that you really, again, feel passionate, because I want you guys, when you're doing this research, as we mentioned, the research strategies, you feel you're learning something and you're enjoying the activity. So after this, you're actually going to put together a way of presenting this. You can do a PowerPoint, but you don't have to do a PowerPoint. You can do a collage. You can do something physical. And I'm here showing even options. You can actually cut pieces, use newspapers, magazines. You can use fabrics. You can use anything. You can do something that is more tactile. You can do something that is for the senses. So this is the moment, guys, to be creative, okay? If you want your presentation to stand up, one way of doing it is not just with your words, but what people are seeing and what people are feeling. So then that's the other thing. This is how you start tapping into different senses, okay? Are you going to bring an object and people are going to move it around? How are you going to present it? So then again, be really creative of how you're going to present. And here I have some examples. So then, yes, you can actually put together a collage that you're cutting. Like, let's say, for example, you like Barack Obama. So then you're going to cut some pieces of newspapers and put something together. On the other hand, you want to do a collage of putting his face together, you want to do a cartoon, you like doing acrylic, go for it. Try your skills right now. You like doing watercolors. Yes, you can do it on your own. Even try to do the sketch of the person that you want to research. And try to put everything together in a way that is that we can see, that we can relate, and we can try and understand different aspects of this speaker, why you like this speaker. So then please research in advance the bio of the person. We want to learn about this person. Share with us, what are the highlights? Why do you like this person? Do you like this person because of the career path? Do you like this person because of the way that they're being really active in different arenas? Do you like this person because it's a person that is a role model? Do you like this person because you find them really amused and really fun and really engaging, that they're so funny and you're always laughing? That's also really is acceptable as well. But bring topics and key highlights of the career of this person, because this person have to build, this person went into a path to make all this happen, to get into that point of being a great presenter, being a great speaker, being a great orator. So there is all this background, all these elements in the back that we want to learn about. So if you can brief us about that. So then again, remember to research the bio, some key elements, career, and highlights about why do you like that person. So then I have here, I included already some resources that you can actually check on your own. If you actually want to go and learn more, let me stop sharing here and I can show you, because I want to give you some ideas of how you can actually tap this activity. If you know someone already, please go for it. If on the other hand, you're debating, if on the other hand, you will say, you know, I don't know anyone that is a good speaker. I don't know anyone that is actually really here in this. Sorry, guys, I'm like here, as you can see, having problems sharing my screen. Okay, now I got it. Perfect. So then I want to give you options. You know, I want to introduce you to some speakers. So then I show you a collage with some images of some key people in political area, some people that are activists, some people that are in different areas of technology, that they are actually great speakers that you can tap. But let's say, for example, you want to learn more about women. You know, you want to focus this about really inspirational females, that they are great speakers, that they are actually using their personal story. So then this is the other element here that we are addressing. So then with here, we're actually addressing how you actually connect your story, your presentation with something that is connected to your personal experience and being a woman, how that actually even make changes. You know, it's different. It's a different way of you presenting. So then here we have different examples. We have Stacey Flowers and then the way why. So we have a TED talk. We have different TED talks about thinking about yourself, being authentic, about putting yourself first, about learning from failures. This is a really important. Brené Brown talking about taking responsibilities. Diana David, you know, be a dreamer, you know. Take the leap, be courage, and stay true to yourself. All of these type of speakers that actually we can learn a lot from them, that they're being, again, they made their way through, but they found their voice by connecting the dots with their own story and learning when to be vulnerable. So then that's another element that I want to point out here with public speaking and professional presentations. Not because sometimes we're being vulnerable, that means that that's bad. I know vulnerability has been tagged and labeled as something weak. However, let me tell you this one, and this actually goes more into the research and what data has shown us. Vulnerability is a level that it taps into a neurological component that is more primal to everyone. And whenever you're able to tap into that area of the brain, it's a more primitive, which is in the back. And then that means the person is going to be easily more connected with you because you're touching into something that is primal and is human. So then you're touching their feelings and they are more able to engage and listen to you. So then the way is to know when to put your emotional portion of being vulnerable, but be careful with this. Do not stay there. Do not stay being a victim, okay? You need to take that power of the emotion and you need to take the power of vulnerability, bring it into your advantage and flourish and revive. So then how you're gonna take that moment where you're putting yourself out there and people are seeing things in a transparent way, but how people can get inspired, but get the strength that they need with that weakness. Does it make sense? Okay, so then that's what I want you guys to point out about those speeches. So then those speeches, you will see some of them, they will touch some moment that they will have the vulnerability, the moment that they are being more transparent, more honest, things were not working, I was clueless, I didn't know what to do with my life. In my company, X and Y thing happened. I got laid off, I didn't know what to do with my life, my family, this and that. So that's the moment when we're going down. But after that, you need a tipping point. You need to gain that action where you're going to turn things into your advantage. So then that's the power of storytelling, how you move that around. Mia, do you have a question?
No, I don't have a question, but another student joined who didn't.
Oh, okay.
So I was just catching him up.
Okay, perfect. Thank you, Mia. Thank you for doing that. Is he getting my emails? Do you want to ask him?
Yeah, I just joined the class, but my phone almost died. I was listening to on my phone.
Okay, perfect.
So I
Great. I'm
figured
glad
just
you joined us.
combine is easier.
Okay, perfect. Great, guys. Okay, so then now we touched that with the power of storytelling. So now let's go back. For next week, remember, guys, we're going to have a round table. We're going to be talking. We're going to be sharing our speaker, our orator, why we like that person, and we're going to have something visual, something that we can do. Remember, you can do it online, you can do something on collage, you can use Canvas, you can use PowerPoint, or you can move it into something more tactile. You can go and do the collage with something physical that you can bring to show us and brief us. Any questions? We good? Perfect. So then remember, I have here some examples, and this is the why. So now moving forward, because we're going to have next week, we're going to be touching about group activities. We're going to start working in our group activities to present and learn more about the power of professional presentations and the power of public speaking. And also we're going to touch base about interviews, because we're going to be having a guest speaker. So then for next week, this is what I want you guys to be prepared with. So next week, since we're going to be talking about the group work strategies, I want you to start reading. This is something that I want you guys to start reading. Start reading on chapter 3, pages 20 to 24. We're going to talk about group work strategies. This is key, guys, in any environment. This is not just for this class. This is for any class. This is for any even department. When you're actually putting together a team, how do you work with a team? And let me actually go back and try. I wanted to hide it out, but I think I'm not going to be able to hide it. Actually, let me stop. Okay, before going there, working in group. We're going to be having an activity next week. We're going to start our reading analysis. But for that, remember, you're going to do it as a group. So then what strategies, what do you guys do when you have a group effort, a group project, a group assignment? What do you do? What are the steps? What do you think? What is the first things that pops into your mind?
I would think allocating the tasks so that one person is not doing more than the other person, and then figuring out how to do it in a timely manner together.
Yes, great. Thanks. Who else? Thanks, Arisa. That's a really good one, and it's really important.
I was going to say basically the same thing, but a slightly different way.
You can say it. Go for it.
Okay. Basically identifying what the story is, then assigning, making sure that just everything else she said, making sure everybody has about the same amount of work.
Yes, perfect. But then now let me ask you, who is going to assign that?
So here's what's interesting that I found in my groups. Okay, so I'm older And I recognize that this is the student experience. And I have this weird thing about I don't want to impose on the younger students, right? So I kind of tend to put myself in the background. But on the student project that I did for financial literacy, I noticed that the students weren't picking up. Like one got us in the group, but nobody was making sure that we had the group meetings, and nobody was making sure that the work was getting done.
See?
So I defaulted to become that person.
Really interesting. So leaders, roles. I'm not going just into leader, but I'm going into the word role. We need a role. We need to know who is doing what. So we have different levels of leaders. We have a leader that is a natural leader, which is the person that takes the initiative and said, okay, we have this assignment by Tuesday. I'm going to take everyone's phones. That's a leader already. Yeah. Or on the other hand, you have two people who are doing the same thing. They're both leaders, but then sometimes you realize that one person tends to have more skills. So then the other person just supports, and they're kind of like co-leading. Yeah, that's another way. Then the other one, which is a hard one, is when no one is doing it. We have roles and then everyone is waiting. And then at the end, you just have to do it not because you want to, but it's because no one else is doing it. And if you don't do it, then you're going to fail this class. Okay. So then these are kind of like some of the basic elements that I want you guys to be aware with this. Roles, leaders, who is a member, who is going to be in charge of what. You need to find out about a goal. What are we going to do? Do we have a deadline? Do we need to put a PowerPoint? Do we need to do a written assignment? So then you need to have it really clear, because you need to have a timeline. And remember, you have a deadline for the class. Then the question is this: should you have a timeline and a deadline that is before the timeline and the deadline of the class, so you can review the material? And that's also something that I have noticed with all my students in different classes, not just this one, and in different departments, not even just this university, that we tend to leave things really open, working more with that final deadline instead of internal deadlines. So then most of the time, even students are not able to see what the material was being shared. So they have no idea what the other peer wrote down. And be careful with that, because sometimes you may be overlapping. Sometimes you may even be contradicting. I have found in contradictions. So here you're the academia, but imagine this happening in a working environment where you're actually proposing something about a product, and then there is like a miscommunication where the prices, they don't match. And there was a miscalculation here because one person is considering manufacturing process and you didn't think about that, and then you didn't read the part properly. So be careful with that, with the timeline. Collaboration channels. What type of collaboration channels do we have? Anything that you guys know that you can share with me? What do you guys use when you need to work in teams?
Google Docs or Zoom or text messages, or actually meeting in person.
Yes, you can do WhatsApp, you can do Google Docs, you can do many things. Decision-making process. How do you make decisions? What is the final product? How do you decide? That's another one that is really important. Do you have a voting system? Do you do a poll? If things are tight, how do you actually make the distinction of this? Then expectations. This is really key, and I have mentioned this one in all my classes. Promise less, deliver more. This is not just for here, but this is for life. If you promise more, people are going to get upset in any environment. Your mom is going to get upset. Your significant other is going to get upset. They're going to get hurt. They're going to be misleading, because you're promising something that you know you're not going to be able to deliver. But if on the other hand, you promise less, try always to deliver more. So you said, I'm not going to be able to make it. I can give it to you by Monday. And then guess what? You surprise them and do it on Saturday. Same thing with Amazon. How happy do you feel when Amazon said to you, your package is going to be delivered next week on Tuesday, and you're waiting for Tuesday? Guess what? They do it even earlier, and you're happy, you're excited. How do you feel if the package doesn't even arrive on Tuesday, but it arrives Friday or next Saturday? You will feel frustrated. You will feel betrayed in a way. You will feel that your expectations, that you don't trust them anymore, that you don't like them, and blah, blah, blah. That's exactly the same thing that happened here. So then I want you guys to think about expectations. Always Promise less and deliver more. That is a good rule. Okay? Then finally, I want you to think about conflict resolution. Things happen. You're fighting internally in your team. This is part of human nature. We will all have disagreements. What if you are in disagreement? What if the team is divided? How are you going to set up a way of conflict resolutions? Do you have a channel of communication? Do you have a way of sitting down and then talking to people? Is the leader the person that is listening the parts? What if the leader is actually involved in the conflict? How would you manage that? Those are key elements that we want to make sure that we know how to address. And we will have one portion of our class in the future where we're going to talk about conflict resolution and about negotiation. Finally, guess what, guys? This is the final stage. If we are in a stage that we are not able to solve the problem and the conflict, we need a third party. So then if we have a third party, we need a mediation, which means we need a party that is impartial. Someone that is going to come and is going to be neutral and is going to assess the dispute or the issue and the problem. So then with this negotiation, with this mediation, we can find it in different levels. So if we are a FIDM, you can actually talk to the instructor. The instructor can be a part of mediator. But what if things go out of control and we need to escalate that? So then maybe actually we need even to talk to the chair of the department. What if things are even going way more deeper and actually you actually need to escalate this into a different level? So then we need to talk to the chair of education and so on. So then you need to have a protocol of properly escalating. The same thing happens when you are in a working environment, when you're in a team. A team has a level of escalating the process. So you also don't start escalating things right away. If you have a problem, you go right away and talk to the chair. No, you talk to the person who is being involved. Then you try to negotiate and find a common ground. That's a key one. And then if this is not happening, you start moving around after the strategies and start escalating it. Does it make sense? Yes?
Yes.
Okay, guys.
Can I ask a question?
Yes, go for it.
So I've noticed that since we're on quarter systems and we only have 10 weeks, like on that other project where nobody was really doing their work. I mean, I got them to, but I ended up with 3 nights where I never went to bed. And one person, I trusted his work would be really good, so I didn't really press him. But I also knew it would have to be proofread, and he gave me no time to proofread it. So we just had to turn it in without proofreading.
Yeah.
So it was marked down. What could I have done during that time? Because like we did kind of talk to the teacher, but what could I have done to have said, hey, my team's not really, and what should I have expected from the teacher?
Absolutely. And then that's something that it's common to happen. And the good and the bad news is that, so let me start with the bad news. The bad news is that it may continue happening because you will find this type of people in any environment. But the good news is that actually, as you move around, you may find strategies and also you may find other type of teams. So then in an environment, for example, such as academia, like one of the examples, what I like doing with my students and people who have been with me is that I like everyone uploading the work at the same time. I don't say one person uploaded as a leader, and the reason is this. Then that means the leader is the one that is staying till night, till everyone is setting their part. So if I'm done with my part and I send it, I'm done and I can go to bed. But then the person who is the leader is there waiting for everyone sending things and texting messages. I don't think that that's fair. So then that's another way of me evaluating the consistency. And that's something that actually has helped me in the past to realize that there is internal problems and frictions in the team. Because when I start reading the parts that everyone is uploading, I find inconsistencies. So I find that the versions are different. So then that's a way of avoiding that. Then the other way is, of course, you doing your best with the timeline and telling people we're doing this ahead, like 1 day before, 2 days before, because I also know we have constraints and we also have other obligations. And if you cannot do it, you still try it again to talk to the instructor. So then at least the instructor is aware that you're putting your part. So then we as an instructor, that's what we always have those elements. of evaluating people in two grounds. So we evaluate people as a team member, but also we evaluate them as individuals. So I'm not going to penalize you because someone else is failing. So then again, the working environment and the academia has different levels of controlling that. Academia, you will see a grade that is reflecting the teamwork, but also the individual work. In the working environment, you may get demoted, you may get even fired because they even are seeing that you are not being responsible and you're failing your team. And at the end, you may even costing the company. So then those are kind of like the elements that I will kind of like, as I said, that they work, you know, in those two setups, and also in my class, how I try to minimize that. But it's not, I'm not saying here that we are in zeros. I'm not saying that you're always going to be 100% able to work on that. The good news is that next quarter and other quarters, you will be able to tap into other teams. So then whenever you have the chance to choose your team, when you hear people talking, interacting in the discussions, you start learning your peers. So then you start knowing who you want to work with. If you don't have that, that level of showing, if you cannot choose who is going to be your team member, then you are practicing other skills. Does it make sense?
Made a lot of sense. Thank you.
Okay, perfect. I know Arisa has a question. Arisa, go for it.
Yes, in regards to the reading analysis one, I know that the due date for that is technically the night of next week.
The class, yes,
Are we
correct.
gonna do the analysis one like as a group next week in class?
Yes, so thank you. This is a great and perfect introduction. Thank you so much, Arisa. So that's the next topic that I'm gonna talk about. So now here, moving that we talk about strategies about working as a team. What is next? We're going to have our first reading analysis, and this is an analysis that is going to work in team. This is a team effort. We're going to talk about why professionals should embrace public speaking and how can you get it started. So then in order to do that, we have a reading analysis that is already available, and I'm going to show it to you guys so you can actually go online and find it. Let me go back into, I want to show this one. Ooh. So you can go into your modules. This is a good way of navigating things efficiently. So by week, we're on week 2, and you have here your weekly reading analysis. So the reading analysis, this is the first one, which means is due next week. As I mentioned, I know during our first class, I like doing things by the same day, so then you have time to ask questions. You go here, you can here download the reading, and we have some questions. So then when you have some questions, you're going to answer the questions as a group. So then that means you're here practicing and polishing other skills, time management, leadership, critical thinking, planning, and then of course we're going to here learn concepts about public speaking and professional presentations. So the 3 questions that you're going to be answering are: what are the advantages of public speaking? How can you improve your public speaking skills? And you're going to create finally a table, and you're going to summarize all the things that can go wrong when you're presenting. If you're presenting, things may happen. But then I want you to think about how you can mitigate and how you can find a solution for that situation. Be really creative for this, and this is the rubric. I'm asking you to use external resources. Remember, we need to research. We need to support whatever we are saying, not just because I found one source that's good, but it's good to find diversity. You can also apply your experience. That's also really valid. But I want you guys to balance both theory and praxis. Okay? So then that is for next week. And finally, I want you guys to be prepared because we're going to be having a guest speaker next week. Our guest speaker is going to be talking about interviews. So we're going to be talking about her experience, her strategies when she was preparing for an interview, and different interviews if something went wrong. And you can actually even ask her questions and bring things here more into application. So we can actually learn at first hand, what can we do? So then in order to do that, I want you to create a 1-slide with all the necessary steps that you do to prepare for an interview, because we want to hear compare and we want to learn from her what she's doing. So you can use your textbook, you can do, you can actually use your experience, and you can even find out different type of inspiration. You can go on Indeed, Glassdoor, you can actually find things on LinkedIn and so on to find some ideas. I want you guys to put something together in one slide. And that slide is something that you may even send it to yourself, upload it on Canvas, have it in a USB in case that we need to have it accessible and we want to present and talk about that. So then remember, next week, we're going to have a person who's going to come to our class, and then she's going to be sharing with us some strategies when you're finding an interview. Because remember, when you're presenting, there are different types of presentations. One presentation is presenting your company, but remember, you're always presenting yourself. You're presenting yourself and what you're doing. And here, I want to close the class for today, and I want to give you time. Because remember, guys, you have a lot of things to do. You have to prepare for the roundtable speaker. You also need to research a little bit about the steps that you take in order to prepare for an interview. And then finally, you're actually going to be doing your reading analysis. So this is a good opportunity for you to connect with your friends and find out about how actually we're going to do this assignment. Does it make sense? I'm going to give you time. Okay.
Are you gonna put us in groups, or we have
No,
to mitigate our-
no, I'm not gonna put you in groups because I want you guys here to take that lead and find your way of how you're gonna work. You were able to hear each other, who talks, who doesn't talk, who is active, who's not active. You were having like an idea of finding ways, and I want you guys to be really creative. Are you gonna use the Canva to find people? Did you already connected with someone the first class? How are you actually going to make this happen? The way that is going to work this reading analysis, minimum 2 people, and then it could be up to 4 people. That's the max. Maximum 4 people, minimum 2, and I'm not assigning because I want to give you the opportunity to practice your leadership skills, communication skills, your time management. And then again, I want you guys to be creative. If you need to connect with people, how would you do it? Does it make sense? Yep. Okay. Any questions?
Are you going to keep Zoom open so people can?
This one, no,
Okay.
I'm not gonna be, yeah. That's what I'm even saying right now. I want you guys to be creative, finding the way of connecting with people.
Okay.
I have
And
one
then-
final, sorry.
Go ahead.
Okay, I have one final question for the weekly discussion. I think
Yes.
other people might have this question, but on the rubric on the paper, it only shows the presentation part, but I realized on the Canvas, it also asks us to write a 1-page paper.
Well, that one is for you to prepare.
Oh, okay, it's just.
So that one is like more for you to prepare, and that's why when I talked today about when you write, when you say it, and when you write it. So when you
Also, we don't have to submit that paper.
Yes, no, that's more for you to create your plan, to think about. So that's more for you with your sources to organize your thoughts.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. So that's more for personal practice. Okay. Any questions?
When everybody's done, I might need to speak to you for a second before you go.
Go for it. Okay, guys, so
Okay.
then again, you have time. So that's what I'm giving you time. So you have assignments to do. So this is be really wise and try to use it, you know? Okay?
By the way,
Go, Ellie,
ahead.
you have a question?
She's in the room with me, so I unmuted
Okay.
myself.
Ellie, do you have a question?
Yes, I wasn't here last class, so I didn't get a sign up for a presentation date.
Yes, Ellie, so send me an email and I will tell you the slopes that I have available, because I also had other students that send me. So then I'm right now placing you, okay? So send me if you have a topic, and also I will send you back the potential days. Okay?
Perfect. Thank you.
Perfect.
I
Yep.
had a question real quick.
Yep, go for it.
So next week, are we giving our
Who's talking? I'm sorry. Maya?
Mia, yeah.
Oh, Mia, go for it. Yes, Mia.
Next
Sorry.
week, are we giving our presentation on the person who we think is a good speaker?
Yes, that's for
Okay.
next week.
And how
The
long?
round table.
And what's the time? Oh, that's the round table.
It's a round table, yes.
So we
So you
have to
were
make
gonna
a
be sitting down, showing, and then sharing, okay?
we have to make a collage for that,
Yes.
and like about like how long the presentation needs to be.
Well, it's not, I want you to be prepared because since we're going to be sharing, you're going to be sharing about the bio, highlights, why do you like that person? So
So
that
it's
may
like a
take,
discussion.
is going to be, yes, because people may ask you, or people may even have the same speaker that you have. So then be prepared for those things, okay?
Okay.
Yep.
And I wasn't here last week, so I didn't get to sign up for
Same
part.
thing, send me a message and then I need to put you into a time because I have already a table with everyone, okay?
Okay, cool.
Great.
I had a question. Are we going to be
Yes.
doing the reading analysis in class, or is it like?
No, this is something that you have a deadline for this. This is what I'm giving you this time for this. This is more about time management.
Okay.
Okay? I show you when to find it, and then this is about time management and leadership skills, critical thinking, and being creative about creating teams and finding resources.
Okay.
Great.
So which one is the team project and which one is the?
That one is the reading analysis, and that one is
that's the
due,
team one.
That one is due next week at 11:50 p.m., way after our class. So you still have time to come to class, ask for questions, even stay after class if you have to, finish it, and then submit it.
Okay.
Yep. It's just
Okay,
however
hey.
you work. Some people work in advance, some people leave everything till the end. So that works more about the mechanics, okay?
Great. So two things. Mia, if you're in the classroom, I'm over in the library and I'm going to walk over to the classroom and say hi, okay?
There you go. We're starting
Then-
to form teams. There you go. Great. Excellent.
Okay. The other part is my technology completely went out. So I'm not even sure. I haven't read the assignments. I thought we were going to do some kind of presentation today. So I brought some things thinking from memory, not from reading it, but from memory
No,
what I
but that's
thought we
different.
were going to do today.
That's different. Remember that one is for our weekly discussion that we can talk about which one are you.
Okay, but I wasn't sure. Just because my technology all went down, I was just kind of going from memory.
Okay.
So was there anything that was due that I haven't done that should have been turned in?
There is nothing.
Okay.
Today, we don't have anything due till this point. Now things are going to start. Yes, things are going to start like next week. And that's what I'm even giving you today time, guys.
Okay, great. Thanks.
Anyone else? Carrie? No? No? Okay, guys. So then again, remember, creative. We have fun already. Some people are already in campus. They're going to meet. They're maybe going to start working on the reading analysis. You may even find a way of connecting with people. If you have the phone numbers, you can always use Canvas to send messages. Okay? Great, guys. I want to see that creativity in action. Okay, guys. Have a great day.
Oh,
Bye.
when will you send out the recording?
I will upload it.
Thanks.